G'day folks, in this video I'm going to show you the easiest way I know how to solve a Skewb. And I mean any Skewb, doesn't matter what Skewb it is, this method will work. And so in this video I've got the original Skewb here, I've got this thing here which is the Skewb Ultimate, which certainly caused me headaches when I first got it. Now I've got these two here which are the Skewb Extreme. This one's just the holy Skewb Extreme. I'm going to ignore that because it's no different to the Skewb Extreme as far as I can work out. I've got this thing which is the, this one's the Skewb Kite, or the Kite Skewb, and the last one here is the Skewb Diamond. You can see why that's called the Skewb Diamond. I'm definitely going to include this one because it's slightly different to the others. Obviously going to include the original one. The Ultimate, that's pretty tends to cause people headaches, and you'll see by the end exactly how you can approach any other Skewb that you have and any Skewb kind of mod. It doesn't matter what's going on. And there's basically the thing that made me go, that's what's going on, is any Skewb only has two piece types. And the first thing to do when you look at a Skewb and you play with it is to just turn something, and when you're turning, just look at what you're turning there. And there will be a piece in the middle which does not move. In other words, it rotates, but it does not move position when you're turning that face. So in this case, it's the white, red, green corner there. We can see that just rotates in position. Now, of course, if I turned another face like this, I can see that the white, red, green piece is going to move. So I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking any face. Just turn it and go, right, that piece doesn't move. That type of piece is going to be my piece 1, and in this case it's a corner. So I'm just going to refer to piece 1 and piece 2, and in fact all of these, when I do it, I can see there again there's a corner that's going to be my piece 1. What have we got here? Suddenly it's different. There's a center piece which is piece 1, and my corners will actually be piece 2. What about this one? Well, this is, who knows what is going on here, because you could say this is a corner or that's a corner, but you can see again when I turn a face, it's the smaller piece there that's piece 1. On my Skewb Extreme, it's the same sort of thing. We've got, by the way, this is the worst turning Skewb Extreme I've ever come across. I've only come across 2, and the first one I sold, and I just recently bought this one again. It's absolute rubbish. Anyway, it'll do the job, and you can see that when I turn that, again, it's a corner that's piece 1. So let's go with this one. First thing to do, once it's scrambled, is, and that's what I'm doing now, is obviously identify which is piece 1, or piece type 1, I should say. When you've done that, in this case, I'm just going to, this is actually harder to scramble than it looks for some reason. Anyway, I've got that, so I'm going to solve piece 1 types, in other words, the little corners first. And what I want to do is pick any of these corners, and let's pick that one. You'll notice that there are 3 other corners hanging off it, 3 other pieces that I can see there that are sort of connected to that, and I'm going to place them first. So this one needs to be blue-orange. So I'll find that blue-orange piece. It'll be somewhere where it'll be turn-upable into this position. So right next to it you can see the blue-orange piece is there, but it does need to be rotated clockwise. So what I do then is I turn it down away from it. Now it's down here. I rotate the face that it's on. You'll notice it's not moving, it's just rotating. And I bring it back up. And now we can see the blue-orange is correct. Turn the whole thing around, and remember this is my starting piece, so now I'm looking for orange-white. I can actually see the orange-white is up there. So let's just turn it around like that. Okay, once again this needs to be rotated clockwise. Now, when I turn it down, this one does move, but when I do my rotation down here, it just stays where it is. So that's fine. And I can turn it back, and that has been rotated in place. And the third of these 3 pieces that I wanted to match, that is already there. So what I've got now is an entire half of the thing done as far as this piece type is concerned. So I can sort of hold that, and now it's this part here which I need to fix. And so I'm looking and I'm saying, well, this corner here needs to be the yellow-orange corner in order to match up with there. So I'll just turn until I've got the yellow-orange corner in place. What I'm going to find, I've found this every time. I can't say for absolute sure that it'll work, but there are 2 corners, if they're not all solved, there will be 2 corners that need to be rotated. So I can see that one is done, this one is not, this one is not, and that one is, that top one there. So I've got two corners here that need to be rotated now. So this is the second phase, is rotating my piece type 1, which in this case is corners. Now I can see that this piece here needs to be rotated clockwise, and this piece at the back needs to be rotated anti-clockwise. So I want to hold it so that there's a piece at the front, a piece at the back. And I don't want to hold it like this, I want to hold it so that the corners go straight up the guts there. And what I'm going to do is, once I've got that, I know that this piece has to be rotated clockwise. So here is what I do to carry out that. I'll just do one of them. That piece is now over here, and I rotate my back face clockwise because this piece needed to turn clockwise. Okay, or the piece that was there. Now that I've done that, I undo those moves. And then I rotate it anti-clockwise. And what I'll see when that's done is that all of those corners have now been put into place correctly and twisted correctly. And I could call that an up, up, down, down, but it's not really up and down, is it? It's kind of away, away. I'll put the algorithm on the screen, I'll try and figure it out. But that's it. So that is phase 2 complete, where all these corner pieces, or the piece type 1, are in place and rotated. Now that means there's only one piece type to go, and it's obviously on this puzzle, it's these ones here. The step that we want to do now is to place these into their correct positions. So let's have a look at this. So I can see I want to line up, and I'm holding the puzzle this time like this. So not with the corners coming straight towards me, but with the corners on the sides, as it were. And I'm looking to rotate, or not rotate, to move 3 of these centers, front, up and back, and they're just going to cycle exactly like that. The front's going to go here, the up's going to go to the back, and the back center will come to the front. And that means I'm going to place the red and the yellow into their correct position. So I hold the puzzle like this, and I want to do pretty much the same move that I just did. So I want to do away from me, and then return, return. Now once that's done, I rotate the entire cube around 180 degrees, and I repeat. And if I bring it back to where it was, don't need to do this last part obviously, but you can see the red and the yellow centers are in position. And that will leave, normally, 3 of these pieces to go. Now if you're lucky, they'll be lined up in a row, because that's easy. If you're not, like this situation, then we just need to do one setup move to put them into place first. So let's bring this, let's have that as the back, that as the up, and we'll bring that white center to the front. It hasn't changed that. And now we've got the cycle that can go here. So we do the same thing. Rotate the whole cube around. And then when we come back here, remember we had a setup. So we undo that setup, and that Skewb is solved. Well, you remember with the Skewb that once we'd placed these centers, piece 2s, the Skewb was done. Nothing needed to be rotated here. We're going to find on this puzzle, the Skewb Ultimate, that that's not quite the case. So again, we're going to look and see that the small pieces are our piece 1, the large pieces will be the piece 2, and there will be a 4th step in this one, is to rotate, or to flip, I should say, these large center pieces. So let's go about it again. We start with the small pieces, and we'll just choose that one there, and we'll say, right, there's got to be a yellow here. That's already in position. Okay. Turn it round. Remember, there's 3 corners around it that I'm trying to place. This one's got to be a dark blue. And I can see a dark blue over there, so I'll turn that down, and I see that it needs to be rotated clockwise. So bring it down, rotate, bring it back up. And the 3rd piece there, that needs to be a pink. It's there, so it's got to go anti-clockwise, bring it down, rotate anti-clockwise, bring it back up. And you can see now there's the piece we started with, and I've got my 3 pieces surrounding it, so that's the bottom half done. I can turn it up, and I know, for example, that this is dark green, so there's got to be a dark green over here. No. Yes. Okay. So I can straight away see that that one is not oriented. Neither is that one. These will all be in place. Now, this one at the back and also this one here, none of them are oriented. So there'll be two separate steps here to orient these four pieces. So let's take the two here first of all. I notice that if I'm going to hold the puzzle like this, I can see that this one at the front needs to be rotated anti-clockwise. Let's have a look. The one at the back actually does too. So let's do a couple which need one anti hopefully and one clock. No, it looks like, in fact, there we go. This one, which was on the top, is correct. The other three all need to be rotated anti-clockwise. So because one of them is going to rotate anti, one is going to rotate clock, we'll have to do it in two stages anyway. Okay, so this one here at the front will be anti, this one will go clock. Let's do it. We hold the puzzle like this with the corners coming straight out towards us, or the small pieces, and away we go. We've done that once. We remember it had to go anti-clockwise, so we turn that back face anti-clockwise and then undo. And then return that. Now we'll see that one has been done. This one looks good. That top one is there, so it's just these last two now. Okay, this one at the front needs to go clockwise. We'll remember that. There's the other one. Undo, and we can see that having done that, all of the small pieces there are not only in their correct position, but they're all oriented correctly as well. So that's piece one done. Now we move on to the second piece type, which is, in this case, it's the large pieces. And so first I might just see if any of them are in position, and yep, looks like that one is. Now you can see that needs to be flipped, but it is in its position. Let's try and find another one. We've got the white green, the white dark green. Where does that need to go? That needs to go to this region here. So what I might do is cycle this, the front to the up to the back, and the back over to here. I know that one will place. What about the others? It doesn't look like they will, but I'll do that anyway. So one of them, turn the whole cube and repeat. And when I bring it back to where I am, you can see that has gone into its position. These two haven't, but that's okay. I can deal with them now, probably. In fact, the brown blue piece needs to go there. The green yellow, let's actually try. Where is that green yellow corner? Can't even see it. Ah, my goodness, I'm going blind. Okay, these two need to swap, so that's got to come back here, which means there'll be another two that need to swap as well. And it looks as though it's this one, the orange purple, yep, and this pink something. So in actual fact, let's go ahead and just cycle those three for now, because I know that I'll get the orange purple placed in here. So I'll go ahead and do that. Alright, let's take stock and see what we've got. We should have three left. That one's in. Should be three left that we need to cycle home. And those three are the blue-brown. Okay, the blue-brown's got to go there. This pink something has got to go here, and the green-yellow has got to go here. So what we might do is bring that green-yellow down to the front as a setup. So now I've got these three to cycle. Okay, now what I'm going to find, I did do a setup, and you can see that's why things are out, so I'll put that back. There we go. And now piece 2, which is my large pieces, are all correctly into their position, but a lot of them need to be flipped. And you can see we're actually at the same stage here, but none of these pieces needed to be flipped. So let's go ahead and flip them now. Now what I want to do when I flip them is actually hold the puzzle the same as when I was rotating these little pieces here. I'm going to hold it like this, and I want to find 2 that need to flip, which would be sort of on the left and the right here. So, for example, that one clearly does, and that one clearly does. So I'm holding it in this position, and you remember when I was rotating these smaller pieces, I did my move and I did one of them. Well, I'm going to do 2 of them now. And the other thing that's slightly different is instead of rotating that back face, I'm going to rotate the front face here. So that's what I'm calling the front face, with this small piece poking straight out at me. So let's go ahead and do that. There's one of them. I'm going to do that again. And I said that I was going to rotate the front face. I want to do that clockwise every time. There we go, and now undo those moves. And undo that front rotation, and you can see that those 2 pieces are now where they should be. And that'll just leave the final 2 here exactly the same thing. So carry out 2 of these. There's 1. 2, rotate the front clockwise, and now undo. Bring it back, and you can see that that is now done. That's the Skewb Ultimate, and so that had the extra step of having to flip these ones in their position. Okay, well this one here is the kite Skewb, and I was going to do it, and I thought, you know what, it's incredibly similar to this Skewb Ultimate. So I'm actually not going to do it. If you've got a kite Skewb, just follow exactly the same as the Skewb Ultimate. What am I going to do? I'm going to do this Skewb Extreme now. Now this is a little bit different again, because if we look first of all, we can see that again the small corners are the ones that are rotating, so that's our first piece. These large pieces are the center pieces, and it's just more visually confusing, but it's actually the same thing when we do that. So let's firstly find a corner. We'll start with this corner here, and this tells me that the corner that goes in this position has to be yellow-red. I've got to have a yellow-red corner in that position. So let's see if I can find it first. There's the yellow-red corner, so I'll bring that down, and that is done. Turning around, it's got to be red, light, green. And again, going quicker now, because I've got the basic technique down. I can see that this needs to go anti-clockwise, so bring it down, rotate, put it back up. And now 3 corners around that central corner, so they're done. I'll have a look at the top, and I'll see that this has got to be blue-yellow. And there it is, and then we can see that that and that, so the top one here and the back one are in position. In fact, they're all in position. They're correctly oriented. This one's not, this one's not. So these are my 2 that I've got to deal with. I see that the blue's got to go up to here, so the front one has to go clockwise. So one of them, rotate the back face clockwise, and undo. There we go. And all of our corners now are done. Now I've got to look at my second type of piece, my center pieces, and you can see, for example, that this yellow one is in, but it just doesn't look right. And the reason it doesn't look right is because we haven't necessarily taken care of these smaller stickers there. And in fact, we can guarantee that this needs to be flipped. You can see the green purple needs to go over there to match with this green purple, and of course then the pink, I don't know what's that, aqua, will need to go over here to match with this. So that one is in position, even though it doesn't look great. We're just looking for the large colours. So the red's got to go there. The white, where can the white go? Well, the white's got to go here, and we might as well, in fact, change of plan, I can see here the green has to go there. This will go to the back position and that white will come back to the front here. So that's what I want to do. This cycle, remember, front, up, back. And I did also say this was a terribly turning puzzle, so bear with me. Okay, so the green's in, the white's in, that yellow's in, so that should just leave 3. So I can see, again, the blue to there, the red's got to go to here. So if I just do a setup, oh my goodness, I think I can do it. That orange will now go to there and I can cycle these 3 pieces. Oh, I do apologise for the turning. It's just really not great. Okay, I did do a setup. Got no idea what I did. Let's look at the corner colours. That looks good. Okay, so they're all in. Now, what we can do is normally there'll be one that is definitely correct, but even if there's not, we can still figure it out. And we'll see here that the red, that's correct because the aqua purple is correctly positioned there. So that one's good. So let's look at perhaps this blue one. Clearly that's not right because it will need to have a pink purple just there. And we can see the pink purple is down there. So that's got to flip. In the same way, this one's got to flip as well. So the yellow and the blue both have to flip in place. Again, we hold it like this, with the corner coming straight out towards us, and we want to do 2 of these. And again, this time we want to turn the front face clockwise. And now undo. There we go, and you can see they look really good now. The red, yellow and the blue, they're all matching everything. And I reckon it'll just be these last 2, the orange and the white, that need to do their thing. So let's do that. And this is where you've got to have faith, because it really does look like the whole thing is completely messed up. But of course, when we turn that back, we'll see that no, it's not. It's solved in exactly the same way as this thing. It's solved quite simply, really. Alright, well our last cube here is the Skewb diamond, and I have saved this till last because it is slightly different in that when I go and turn a face, I can see that the piece 1 is not something that's sticking out. It's like a centerpiece, and in fact we're going to call that the centerpiece. So our first task is to get the centers done. And you remember in the past that if I looked at my piece 1, I'd have something like this and I'd have 3 around it. Well, the same thing is going on here. Let's look at this red. Ignore that. Look at the red. I've got to get this piece, and this piece. So the first thing that I can do is say, if I've got a red, I know that looking at that corner here, that must be a blue. So let's just turn until a blue goes into position. That's one of them done. Now, because I've got this corner sitting here nicely, I also know that has to be green. So I've got the blue in place. Let's find the green. There's the green. I can turn that up. So there's my initial piece, my green and blue, and the last one here, I need to find out what it should be. And I'm going to do that. I know the green and the red are correct, so I'm going to find a corner that goes green, red, something, where the green, red is clockwise. There it is, green, red, yellow. So I know that yellow is in its correct position, and that means that those 4 are now done. So I can turn it upside down, and now I've got to find, this is the other part that I'm turning, that is obviously in position. I just got to find, well, what about the other 3? So for example, I would then say to figure out this one, I'd look here and I'd say I've got a red, green, something. And clearly looking at this corner, it's got to be red, green, white. So all I need to do is turn that around until the white is in position. And now I know that all of my piece 1 pieces are in their correct positions. Doesn't look like it because these are the ones with all the colours. Piece 1's done because there's nothing to rotate. So moving on to piece 2, I can look and see, for example, that let's have a look, this red purple, that needs to go to that position there, and it looks like the red green needs to come back, so that's okay. We'll just cycle those 3, so front, up, right, and what we wanted to do was just one of these, rotate the whole thing and repeat. Okay, you can see that one is in. Where does this one have to go? Green, purple. Looks like that has to go there. The other purple needs to go there, so that'll be a nice cycle. It'll get at least 2 of them done. And in fact, I think it's going to get this one done as well. So 1, 2, 3. Alrighty, now I reckon that's actually all of them in, and the only thing left to do is to flip these last pieces. These of course are not center pieces, they're corners now on this puzzle, but there's still piece 2. So the 2 at the front here I've got to flip, and I'm holding it like this with the piece 1 coming straight out at me. And what was I doing? 2 of these, and then turning the front clockwise. And again, it looks like it's completely out, but when you turn it back, you can see that all those pieces are now solved. Really hope that's been helpful. Again, this is another one. There's probably a bunch more Skewb variants, but this method will work for any Skewb you've got.